You've tuned in to the Benjamin Dixon Show.
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's see if I got it right this time. Caller, what is your name and what is your comment or question?
My name is Steve. I just wanted to clarify, or not necessarily clarify something, just ask a question that you can clarify for me. I was a firefighter paramedic, and I got sick. I'm only 38, and what I do right now is I investigate some of these things that they're saying about the Christians and the whole bit. And I actually live in Canada, and however, I investigate most of them. And I can tell you for sure that I have personally seen those train cars you were talking about. And just down the road from me is a site where the U.S. are holding all those, I'm sure you've seen online there, all those black, large plastic coffins and things like that. Now, we know the U.S. government is funding ISIS and things like that. And of course, the ISIS and everything are beheading all the Christians. So I'm wondering, with evidence like that I know for a fact is real, how is it that we are not supposed to be worried about things like the Christian concentration camps and stuff?
Okay, so let's start back with your evidence. What evidence do you have that makes you 100% sure that what you see are first of all, the pictures, and if you have pictures, why haven't you brought it to the media? I mean, tell me about this evidence that you have.
Well, I've actually seen the train cars. I went up and touched them. Because of this North American Union thing or whatever, the U.S. has a lot of things on our side of the border that they have. I've looked inside the train cars. I've seen where the people fit. I've seen the connections where you hook the cuffs and the leg chains to. I've also seen and touched these big plastic coffins. I actually got a picture here somewhere of me laying in one of them, and there's enough room to put 3 or 4 bodies in one.
Okay, so but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to give you. I'm not going to. Not yet. I'm going to give you some room to stretch and say what where are you getting the drawing the conclusion? Because there's quite a few train cars that I've gone up and touched. There are quite a few objects that can look like coffins that I've gone up and touched. What makes you draw the conclusion that these train cars that you've seen are for the purposes? Have you seen bodies in them?
No, but they are marked on the side of them. They have property of Homeland Security and then some numbers after it.
Right, but there's quite a bit of material that the government owns that can be used for any number of reasons. But let's go down this train of thought, right? Let's say they have these trains that look like they can carry bodies, right? Could they not also be carrying any number of things, including livestock? Could they not be carrying weapons? Could they not be carrying what makes you make the logical leap from here is a train that looks nefarious, right? I'm not going to take away from the fact that they look intimidating or scary, but how do you make the logical leap and say that this is a train that is going to be used specifically for Christians? And then answer me this: how do you think that in the United States of America today you can get away with taking Christians and putting them in concentration camps when Christians, quite frankly, I am a Christian. We run a lot of stuff. We run a lot of TV stations. We run a lot of organizations. We make up the vast majority. So you would have to really take quite a bit more than 60-70% of the United States out of the United States. One thing, let me reassure you one thing. If nothing else, if there is a great evil, it is money. And there's no way in the world we are going, and I'm just going down this train of thought with you because I want to help you to see, there's no way in the world we are going to imprison and into concentration camps 70% of our population. Do you know what that would do to our economy? If there's one great evil, it is money, and it's our drive to keep money. We're not going to get rid of our population because of their beliefs. So help me to understand, how do you make a logical leap from seeing trains or seeing crates or seeing coffin type items and make the leap to say that, okay, these are specifically designed for Christians?
Okay, I cannot say that. I can say that I strongly believe they're meant for people in America and
Okay.
possibly people in Canada. I can't say 100% for Christians. Now, as far as your first question about the train cars, I don't believe they'll be used for livestock, just the way there's like built-in seats. They're like almost like, can you imagine 3 or 4 speed bumps kind of thing? So I don't think they could put that in there. And they've got the connections where, as I said, it's like a big U-clamp that you can open, and it appears, let me say that it appears that it attaches to the leg chains.
Well, let me ask you this question, because we're running short on time. Let me ask you an important question. Did you get pictures of it?
I've got a picture of me standing beside it, but not on the inside.
But not on the inside. So here's the thing. If I put this challenge out to anyone, if you can bring concrete evidence, not just pictures of on the inside. You do need to get pictures of the inside, right? For anyone to even start to hear your theory, you need to get evidence. But then you have to make the connection to say that this is intentionally going to be used for people. They're going to start hurting people. And then you have to overcome the one truth. There's one truth throughout American history. Everything is about money. How would taking a swath of the population, and if you think it's about Christians, then you're talking about 70% of the United States of America. How is that profitable for anyone to take the money, that much amount of out of the United States of America? If it's not profitable, they're not going to do it. There's nobody so committed to any ideology that more than money. So you have to draw you have to connect the dots. Now, there was one thing that you said that I definitely want to push back on. ISIS is not discriminating on their hatred, on their barbarism. Just this weekend, ISIS killed hundreds of Muslims. So it's not that ISIS is being funded by the United States for the purposes of killing Christians abroad. And I don't know if someone is telling you that, then you need to just ask them the question, why and where is the evidence? Why and where is the evidence? And if you believe that, then how do you answer the question of why are they killing so many Muslims too? I'm not defending ISIS. I think ISIS is a scourge that needs to be put down, but we cannot make ourselves fearful and make ourselves the personal victims when in actuality, they're going after everybody. They will kill a Muslim just as quickly as they would kill a Christian. I really appreciate your call, but I'm down to the last 5 minutes of the show, and I definitely want to get to some things. So I thank you for that call, but I challenge you. You're more than welcome to call back. I challenge you to call me with some evidence, some pictures, email them to me. And if and not just pictures, right? You got to go one step further. You have to make the logical connection of why, who, what, when, where, and how. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. People, and I'm not gonna dog him because he's and I think his name was Steve, and forgive me if I got your name wrong, but Steve from Canada really believes this. And he believes this because somebody has been feeding him this. Somebody has been pouring this into him for so long that now he sees a train, and he doesn't just see a train, he sees a cargo train, and he doesn't just see a cargo train, he sees concentration camp trains. Right? But Steve, when you follow the logical steps, you realize it falls apart. It falls apart when you realize what runs our world. Ideology is just the mechanism that they use to distract us and to keep us arguing with each other. But the people at the top, they have one ideology, and that's money. And if it's not profitable, they're not going to do it. That's one. Then two, how would they practically, not even logically, how would they practically pull off interning hundreds of millions of people? I mean, we're talking about 70% of the population that are identified as Christian. And even if you cut it down to the staunch Christians, let's go down to 30% to the diehard burn me at the stake Christians. How are they going to practically pull this off, not only logistically, but constitutionally? You have to understand, unless they blow up the Constitution, no one is coming after you. If they blow up the Constitution, which they're not, then you have a lot more to worry about than gay marriage. You have a lot more to worry about than who's sleeping with who. If they get rid of the First Amendment, then we have a problem that we all can unify and rally behind. But that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We can play, go to the logical extreme on anything, right? But in our lifetime, I will put money and I would be the first. I would be the first to pick up arms and fight beside you if it happened, and to bite my tongue, right? But it's not going to happen. Let's deal in reality. And if someone is sitting around feeding you things for you to be afraid of, but you cannot bring concrete evidence for it, and you can't, and it's just a suspicion, then they're really just manipulating you to keep you fearful of reality. And it's so easy to do. And that's what, you know why I'm not a preacher instead of a radio host, is because I cannot get off on manipulating people and making them fearful when I could just as easily make them empowered and see the truth. And the truth of the matter is, the Supreme Court decision on Friday is not going to hurt people of faith. It is going to help people of faith because it reaffirms your right to believe and teach and preach and live whatever you want to believe. And that's the bottom line. I didn't even get a chance to get to Bree Newsom, guys. I'm running out of time, but Bree Newsom, Wonder Woman, she scaled the polls over in South Carolina. She climbed up and took down the Confederate flag. Sadly, if I could just offer one thing that I wish she would have done, I think she was heroic. I think it was a beautiful scene. One thing I wish she would have done, I wish she would have set that thing on fire while she was up there, because as soon as she came down, they lifted the flag right back up. So we'll do some more. We might even do a special show on her and her her accomplice. It was a beautiful sight to see. I just want to encourage people, don't let organizations, don't let charlatans, don't let people like Joshua Feuerstein, Mike Huckabee, Fox News, Bill O'Reilly, don't let them make you fearful of life. Because if they make you fearful, then they control you. And that's exactly what they want. And everyone listening, you could hear the concern. And Steve didn't sound like a bad guy. Steve just sounded like a confused guy, a guy who was really been told these things. He's been listening to the wrong people. But you've tuned into the Benjamin Dixon Show. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. And if I'm wrong, I am so fast to admit that I'm wrong. But I'm not wrong on this, Steve. You can relax. You go take some pictures. Go ask some questions. Be an investigative journalist if you have to. But I guarantee you, once you unpack it and you confront your fear, you'll realize somebody's been lying to you all of this time. Folks, I got to go. We'll catch you next time.
And until that moment comes, when we, the Americans, are able to accept the fact that on that continent we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other, that I am not a ward of America. I am one of the people who built the country. Until this moment.
And we are brothers. Not a question.